Have you ever played a game and just thought, wow, this is impressive, this is next level? The design, the gameplay, and even the aesthetics. And you just wonder, if it's this good now, I can't imagine how it's going to be in 10 or 20 years. But little did you know, it wasn't going to get any better. And that some games that you played over 2 decades ago, they're still not surpassed in what they achieved. And so today, I'm going to highlight a handful of exceptional games that when they released, they were genre defining, they were pioneering and regarded as a stepping stone into the future of where games can only get better. Take Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, released in 2005, 20 years later. It remains arguably one of the greatest stealth games ever made. Its level design, it encourages experimentation, its AI reacts believably to player actions, and its light and shadow system, it's still a masterclass in tension building and deepening the level design even more. Unlike in many other games, the enemy suspicion levels, it carries over and builds throughout the level. If you get caught or killed too many people too obviously, instead of reverting back to everything being totally fine like so many other games with like a stealth element, these guards just don't say, "It must be the wind," when they're the last man standing, as all their fellow guards have been picked off one by one. They become more alert and eventually take a defensive position permanently as they know that you are lurking around. Even how you move, Sam's animation pauses mid-frame when stopping while sneaking. It's these little things that create a more immersive stealth experience that games 20 years later, they don't even attempt to implement these things. In Chaos Theory, you really do feel like a secret agent. Whereas in many other modern stealth games, you're just Batman without the costume. And this isn't bad necessarily, but I do think that we have lost something since there's not really any games coming out that are like Chaos Theory anymore. Modern stealth titles or games with a stealth option, they often lack a balance of freedom and consequence. And Chaos Theory didn't just set the bar with this, it defined it. And guys, as recording of this video, we're at 6,000 subscribers. We're slowly but surely making our way up to 10,000 subscribers. So please do the thing the algorithm likes. I really appreciate all the support that we've got so far. Stay tuned for some excellent upcoming videos. Now let's get back to it. Half-Life 2, released in 2004, stands as a monument to single-player first-person shooters. Its storytelling, it's seamlessly woven into gameplay. It avoids the cutscene heavy style that dominates many modern shooters or many games in general. The gravity gun, physics puzzles, and the impeccable pacing makes it feel fresh today as it did on release. Modern shooters today may boast about their high fidelity visuals, but few can match Half-Life 2's immersion and world building. It's amazing to watch that Half-Life 2 tech demo where it demonstrates all these new additions in the source engine. And even today, this actually looks impressive, which is sad and quite ironic because the technology has been around for decades to have all these dynamic and interactive environments with all these elements coming together.
The world of Half-Life 2 is very dynamic. Any surface can have its displacement map altered dynamically along with its collision hull. The world is also built out of materials. So if something looks like wood, then it sounds like wood, scrapes like wood, floats like it, and if you shoot it, it'll fragment like wood. Materials in the physics system interact with each other, so a set of steel drums floating will behave exactly how you expect. Didn't think this would be complete without a giant pachinko machine. You can have constraint based. You can have flexible models interacting with complex surfaces. There's no limitation on the complexity of those interactions. So it's this level of believable and consistent interactivity that opens the door to a wide variety of new gameplay mechanics.
Now this will run on my 486.
But you know, and I know, that if modern designers in the current game engines that are being used, that if they try to implement even half of what Half-Life 2 did to flesh their game out, you know it'd be almost impossible to run on the hardware that isn't top end. And people are starting to notice this across the board. Remember all those comparison videos with Oblivion, a 20-year-old game, having more impressive in-game interactions than Avowed? Even Metal Gear Solid 2 had more impressive interactive elements that many games that come out today just don't have. And for more details about Half-Life 2, check out this video I made earlier this year after I experienced Half-Life 2 for the very first time. Now for horror fans, Amnesia: The Dark Descent, released in 2010. This remains to me one of the benchmarks of psychological fear. Now I was going to mention or go into Silent Hill 2 and 3, which are timeless classics in their own right. But I wanted to focus more on this new generation of horror games where you generally play in the first person and you are defenseless or generally defenseless through the whole game. By stripping the player of combat abilities and emphasizing vulnerability, Amnesia redefined gaming for a new generation. Its oppressive atmosphere, unsettling audio design, and unpredictable encounters creates a lingering dread that many new horror titles, they really can't replicate, even though there's so many copycat games out trying to replicate what Amnesia managed to do. For me personally, it's the only real horror game that's made my heart race, knowing someone or something was chasing me. Amnesia spawned so many copycat style games, but none have really broken through the mold to be truly genre defining since Amnesia released over 15 years ago now. If anyone wants to play a real great horror game, Amnesia is my go-to recommendation every time. Whereas lots of copycat horror games rely just on cheap jump scares, Amnesia had a way of building that tension when playing for the first time. Aside from the obvious, safe hub areas, you just don't feel safe anywhere. I haven't actually played the newest release from Fictional Games, the Bunker. If you've played it, let me know if it's worth experiencing. Now for cooperative shooters, Left 4 Dead 2008. This continues in my mind as to reign supreme as the benchmark for cooperative shooters, or cooperative games in general. Its AI director, it dynamically adjusts enemy placement and intensity, ensuring that every playthrough feels unique. The right teamwork required for survival, combined with a simple but brilliant mission design, it makes it endlessly replayable. And again, I made a video about how this game is timeless, and I can realistically see these servers going on for another 20 years. Even newer co-op shooters, it borrows its formula, but few manage to capture its frantic, desperate energy. And that's why these new games might be fun for a short while, but in the end, Left 4 Dead remains the greatest of all time, and has done so for almost over 15 years. I think the only thing that looks comparable in being the new co-op game is Helldivers 2. Sadly I've not played, so I can't really comment much, and I do think it looks very fun. So if you have played both, which do you think will stand the test of time in the coming years? And lastly, I can't go on without mentioning some old favourites of mine in the MMO space. World of Warcraft, and I mean the 2004 version, and of course RuneScape. These two MMO titans demonstrate that the original slower paced community focused design still holds like a special type of magic. Modern MMOs, or like newer versions of Warcraft, they may streamline progression and shower players with rewards, but classic Warcraft and RuneScape, they emphasize on social interdependence, they emphasize exploration and personal achievement, and it gives victories a certain weight that's often missing in newer titles. A lot of MMOs, or games that use all these MMO styled mechanics, they just think by giving you an endless stream of purple epic loot, that this is the only driving force that keeps players engaged. But just look at these games. They're not graphically impressive, but they're infinitely more compelling in their escapism than these looter shooters could ever imagine to be. All these games that I've highlighted, they endure because they're not simply products of their time, they're They were refinements of timeless design principles. Their mechanics, pacing, and player engagement, it transcends the technological leaps that we've managed to achieve in the last 20 years. In an industry obsessed with the new, these games remind us that sometimes the best has already been achieved, and all that's left is to experience it again. These games weren't built around microtransactions, endless checklists, or flashy propaganda. They're built around strong core mechanics and player-driven moments. Technology has advanced, but good design is timeless, and modern titles may have prettier graphics. But when it comes to immersion, tension, or strategy, and satisfaction, these classics still hold their own, and arguably, they're just better. And after saying that, does this really look better than this? If something has more polygons, does it make it more appealing? I don't think so, and that's something I won't go down the rabbit hole right now. But I do feel the obsession in modern games with all the use of these, post-processing techniques, it just makes some of these games look ugly and unappealing to look at, and it really fucks your PC trying to run everything at once. These older games I've mentioned, they're not just relics of the past, they are reminders that in gaming, better isn't always newer. If anything, the continued dominance of these decade-old titles suggests that the industry's definition of, progress, it is fundamentally flawed. Chasing graphical fidelity, cinematic spectacle, and aggressive monetization has often come at the expense of player agency, pacing, and just real authenticity. This isn't helped by the subversive propaganda being injected into the hobby you love over the past 10 to 15 years. And please check this out for a real deep dive to learn why gaming has been held back over the past 15 to 20 years. So these classics remind us that the essence of a great game isn't found in these particle effects or this fancy lighting. It's found in systems that respects the player's intelligence, rewards mastery, and creates stories that emerge from gameplay, rather than Marvel-style quips about why being masculine is bad. Until the industry rediscovers the truth, we may find that the best games of the next decade are still the ones that we've been playing for 20 years. And at this point, this is being proved every year, as some of the best-selling games in recent years are just remakes of games that came out 20 years ago. All these new games that look marginally better than games that came out 10 years ago, but now it's over 100 gigabytes to install, and it cripples your PC even though you've just invested thousands into brand new hardware. Is this not just proof of the incompetence of modern game design? The infixable flaws of the new game engines, are these all just signs that things are not getting better? Half-Life 2 is as demanding to run as a large Excel spreadsheet. So why is running Dishonored 2 on low settings boiling my graphics card? I just want to play this game, but it sounds like my PC is just about to take off, and loading into it just gives me the fear. So maybe it is time for me to upgrade. But I think I'd rather just moan about this instead. There are occasional gems that have come out that remind us of what gaming should be. It's a shame there's just not too many of these games coming out now that shows us of what gaming could be as we imagined it 10 years ago. Instead, many games remind us of the downward trajectory that we're on, and so we must look to the past even more now to rediscover what we've lost. Because if we don't, then how can developers, designers, or we as consumers know what a good game is anymore? We don't realise just how good we had it, and I don't accept the argument that I'm just espousing a nostalgic tirade to criticise the current state of gaming. If you do agree with the general sentiments that I'm making in the video, do the thing the algorithm likes and check out some of my other gaming related content on the channel. Gaming will always have a small place on the channel, so stay tuned for more breakdowns and retrospectives. So again, thank you very much for watching. Until next time.